Good morning, everybody, and thank you very much for joining us on this My Journey session today around why test. I'm Andy Taylor, or Andrew to my mum, or if I've done something naughty, and I'm lucky enough to be the Vice President of Product here at ACT. And that means that I'm fortunate enough to lead the product management team and the markets, insights, and research team. So really, my job is to make sure that our products serve our customers in the best way they can. So today, I'm just going to take you through probably just under a half an hour, just a little bit around the ACT, and you may know much of this already, but it's always useful background. And then we're going to go and talk about why we think it's important for people to test, how it can help them stand out, how it can help colleges find them, and other reasons how it can help. This is one of a number of sessions we're running today, so hopefully we'll be able to answer any questions you have, and I know there's a process for answering, for sending in Q&A, which we'll answer separately. So thank you very much, and I'll start. So what are we going to talk about today? First of all, as I said, we'll talk a little bit about the ACT, how it's made up, what it's all about, how testing can help you as a student or the student that you're here to hear about today, how it can help that student stand out, how it can be used as a comparison tool, and most importantly, how it can highlight the ability of the student. We'll also talk a little bit about some of the tools that we have which help the student prepare for their journey. Not prepare for the test, but prepare for their journey. At the end of the day, a journey needs a destination, and that's one of the important preparation tools that we need. Very quickly, first of all, a little bit about ACT. Hopefully everyone's aware that we're a mission-driven, not-for-profit, and we're research-based. We do not make any claims unless we're able to prove them with research. We're a not-for-profit organization and have been for 63 years, based in Iowa City, Iowa, but serving the whole of the country and a number of countries outside of the US. We actually have 85 countries this year delivering the ACT outside of the US. And then finally, we're mission driven. We create products that generally help our customers succeed, be that the learners, the test takers themselves, or those that serve the test takers, be they teachers, administrators, parents, or other champions for those students. Something that's very, very dear to our heart and that we believe in strongly is that the whole student needs to succeed, whether that's from one education stage to another, from high school to higher education, from higher education undergraduate to postgraduate learning, but also into workplace. You need a whole set of skills that allow you to succeed. So the ACT, which covers the core academic skills, is important. By no means is it the only indicator, nor is it the only area in which we need to help our students get skills. We call this the holistic model of education and work success. And this very complicated diagram is our attempt at showing it. It's really about core academic skills, cross-cutting capabilities, behavioral skills, and education and career navigation. So the ACT, which covers core academic skills, the test itself, is only really one part of a much broader spectrum. So very quickly, just let's talk about what the ACT test is. It's usually taken by high school juniors and seniors across the country in all 50 states, plus Guam, DC, and Puerto Rico, and contains multiple choice assessments in 4 areas: English, math, reading, and science. There is an optional 5th test called the writing test. That's optional and doesn't affect the student's composite score, but many institutions of higher education like to see a sample of written work, and this is a good way of delivering that. For example, the service academies ask for the writing, and that's an important part of the application to those academies. The ACT is offered nationally, and we also work with 22 states across the country and over 2,000 school districts to offer it as another attempt during the school day. We call that our state and district opportunity. Students who take the ACT receive personalized college and career decision-making information, and that's really incredibly powerful. And we'll touch a little bit more on that later. And that helps establish them in the college performance baselines. The ACT includes a profile, education, career planning section. And really that helps explore the students' interests, the courses they've taken, and the preference to help them plan after high school. That can really boil down to what is the right major for you, for your desires, aptitudes, and the skills that you've already collected in your journey so far. So it's an important part of it. And we think that that is as important as the test itself. And again, we'll touch on that in a second. So we're going to talk about national testing today. This is available to everybody in over 6,000 test sites across the country. And that's offered 7 times a year. Not everywhere. There are some states that do not offer July testing, New York being an example of that. But usually done on a Saturday, unless there's a religious exemption to a Saturday, and then we offer it on a Sunday in those areas. It's administered, as I said, in over between 5,000 and 6,000 test centers across the United States. And we're always working diligently at a local level for those test sites that get full very quickly. We're looking for alternative sites in that area. For those that aren't quite so busy, we're seeing if we can find a way to still serve that population, and we'll continue to do that. Currently, every student does it on paper using a 2HB pencil and fills that in. We are going to be offering a digital option very soon. We've been offering that digital option in our state and district market and our international market for a number of years. So we have the technology and we're working with our test sites to roll that out probably from next year onwards. And for us, the year is the academic year. So from next fall onwards. As I said earlier, it comes with or without writing. And then finally, something to mention here that's really important. In 3 of those sessions, December, April, and June, you're able to get something called a TIR, a test information release. And this is really a very useful tool for students that want to know exactly what they got wrong and exactly what the correct answer was. It gives them a copy of their paper and a copy of their answers and the correct answers, and it can be a very useful learning tool, particularly if you're thinking to take the test more than once. And a lot of people do choose to take the test more than once. So again, the TIR is in December, April, or June, and you request that at the time of registration. We talked a little bit about the components. I think it's always good to see it visually. English, 45 minutes, 75 questions, or items as we call them. Mathematics, 60 questions, 60 items. Reading, 35 minutes and 40 items, and the items are based on a number of reading passages that you have to read. Science, 35 minutes, 40 items. And then finally, the optional writing component is one writing, what we call a prompt, or a question that will prompt a writing essay, and we give you 40 minutes to complete that. Obviously, there are accommodations available for all kinds of things, including special papers, enlarged print, braille, as well as additional time for those that require them. And there's a well-developed process, and your school or our website can help you understand how to go through that process to receive any accommodations that the student requires. Registration, everything that you need, and we'll touch back on this in a second, happens through My ACT. We would always recommend creating an account as soon as you start thinking about when you or the student's going to test. There are a whole plethora of tools that we make available free of charge through My ACT, and we'd highly recommend creating your account as soon as possible. So what can that help you do? It can obviously help you find your test center, your location, and then register for that test. Request special testing, I mentioned already. Complete inventories, and this is the free tools that help you understand really what major is right for you and where your aptitude and desire will take you forward. When the time comes, you can get your scores from there. You can also, as well as sending your score to 4 colleges for free, first of all, and then additional colleges as you will, you can then do more of those as more colleges enter your vision. You can purchase official ACT test prep and also access free official ACT test prep material. We offer both free and paid for materials. I think we have a session on that I'm leading later on today. And then finally, you can access frequently asked questions and really understand some of the other journeys and some of the other questions that others have asked. If you're thinking about the question, somebody may have asked it already, and there probably is an answer there for you. Again, this is just what that looks like and takes you there. Registration does take some time because we're really trying to understand the journey that the student is on and helping them make sure that we can best serve them during that journey. This is just an example of what your score report looks like. As you can see, a huge wealth of information on the score report. The big number, the biggest bubble here is the composite score, but then it also has independent separate scores that are made up from the individual sections, plus others that are made up in certain ways, such as your STEM score. But all of these have great information on exactly how they're made up and exactly how they're used. The really key scores that most colleges are interested in are the composite score, and then the math, English, science, reading, and writing scores should you have taken a writing test. Again, writing is completely separate and doesn't impact the composite score. A final piece here that is very important to us. As a mission-driven not-for-profit, we do everything we can to make the ACT as accessible to everyone as we can. In fact, last year, 24% of the 1.3 million students that took the national did so through the fee waiver program. That fee waiver program is available to qualifying students, and you can check online or work with your high school counselor who will tell you whether you're accessible or not. And that means that you can have up to 4 free tests per individual. And we will also supply you with our online self-paced Kaplan, powered by Kaplan tutor program for free if you come through the fee waiver program. So if you think you're eligible, have a look online, work with your high school counselor, and please apply and get that application in so that we can get you testing and we're able to access those things for you. Just a reminder, here are the dates, and as you can see, we're not very far away from our second date, 22nd of October, and registration actually closes very, very soon. It closes next Friday. So if you're thinking about October, you don't have very long left to get in there. But then you still have 5 opportunities this year and obviously 7 next year and every year moving forward. So let's actually get into the meat of today's presentation. Why should a student take the ACT? And this is obviously ACT's view and what we've learned both from our research, and I will quote some research to you, and you can look up any research I quote today is available on our website. And will be available for you to review in our research section. So if you put in ACT research, there is a wealth, hundreds and hundreds of pieces of research there that can tell you both the academic view and the student's view. And that's really important for us to make that available and to share that with you. The first thing I'm going to talk about is colleges actually finding the student. We call it ACT's Educational Opportunity Service. You'll hear the term EOS several times, and this is incredibly important. So when you register, we ask you to opt in. We are going to be sharing your data, and we will not do that without your permission. But we will ask you to opt in, and what this allows us to do is work with colleges and make your data available to them so they can reach out and find you. This also includes things like some of the national the national scholarship associations and others who will use this service to reach out to you. As you can see, what this graph shows us is that as your ACT composite score range goes up, more and more colleges will contact you. But this isn't just at the top end. Obviously, if you're going to be scoring a 33 or a 36, you're a highly desirable student academically to those colleges. As you can see, 52.2 colleges on average reach out to those students. But even a really good base score of 16 to 19 or 20 to 23 will have a number of colleges reaching out to you and talking to you about not only admission, but what scholarships are available and what opportunities are available to you. 22 is often used in a number of areas as a baseline score. And as you can see, nearly 16.4 colleges on average reach out to students with those scores. So opting in and doing the test and making yourself available and visible to colleges is incredibly important if four-year college is a route that you aspire to and that you think is right for you. As I said, we're done at registration, and that's at the point which you can opt in. Next, we really want to confirm or show strength beyond high school grades. High school grades have been the historic way of identifying what score and what our academic journey has been at high school. They continue to be incredibly important, but there is no national single model for GPA. Your GPA could be a weighted GPA, it could be a straight GPA, it could be out of 4, it could be out of 5, it could be out of all different ways of grading it. In fact, many colleges will take your transcript scores and create their own GPA. So GPA is a very, very uncommon or heterogeneous yardstick. It doesn't compare all things alike. So like in the picture, these are all Wonderwid, but they're all very, very different. What using the ACT score, the composite score, and the individual scores allows you to do is really show your strengths with your GPA, but using a common yardstick. This is incredibly important, particularly if you're applying to a college that may be out of state or maybe out of your region, where the way that your high school, your school district, your state calculates GPA may be a little different to that college. And this gives you a common yardstick and a common term of reference to use with the college. The next one is really knowing where you stand. Again, using GPA and other indicators may not be able to show you where you are from a ranking perspective across the rest of your cohort. Many scholarships are based on a ranking basis. So knowing and understanding where you are on that ranking is incredibly important. So knowing where you stand and where your abilities are compared to the rest of the national, local, or regional cohort is incredibly important. And again, test scores give you a great way of doing that. Finally, I want to talk about, or not finally, for the next section, I want to talk about finding the right fit. And what do we mean by that? Well, what do we mean by that? We mean that the right major at the right institution is one of the most important decisions that you can make. Bar buying a house, this may be one of the most highest expenses in your life, certainly in your life to date. So finding the right fit is incredibly important. We provide free, accessible tools to be able to do this. Our interest inventory and other tools that we have really help you with that. So again, it's about the tools we supply, not just the test. So the sooner that you register on MyACT and start going through those tools, the better it will be for you to find that right fit and really understand what is best for you or best for the student that you're helping or students that you are helping to champion. I think we all are aware that the change of undergraduate major is a big part of the undergraduate experience in the US, and really finding it can be very difficult. But the more investigation and the more discovery and navigation that we can do before we get to college, the better we will be. And again, the tools that we have will help you do that. So finding the right fit, incredibly important, and can really get us there. You'll see a lot of talk right now about the return on investment of college. And a lot of that is because the right fit hasn't been found. Again, doing it early, understanding what the journey will be and what the outcome you expect is all part of that right fit journey. I wanted to just spend the last 6 or 7 minutes to talk about a huge study that was 10 years in the making that we went through that really shows the power and the health that can be provided by an ACT. Not just the testing experience, but the experience in preparing for the test and then being ready for the test and what that does for you from a success well into your college journey. So a little bit about the study. It was a collaborative study between ACT and the National Student Clearinghouse. National Student Clearinghouse is really the place for data on high school to college data for all across the piece in the US. Again, it's a not-for-profit, and again, it's about getting the right data in the right hands. The objective was to examine how ACT scores can help identify students at risk of not completing a degree. And then the methodology that we used, starting in 2010, this took a huge number of years because we had to wait for students to go through the college program. was we matched 1.5 million ACT records. Let's not talk about records. We looked at 1.5 million young people that went through the ACT testing experience and then went on to four-year college, and used that data about those individuals and their enrollment and degree information all the way through their college journeys, and had a look at how they fared and how they got on. So that was, as you can imagine, pretty groundbreaking at the time, and took us nearly 8 years to complete, as we had to go through the process with each of those students. So what did we learn? Oh, sorry. So what did we learn? Well, we learned a number of things. First of all, we learned that college readiness does absolutely translate to a college degree. So what does that mean? Well, what that meant is that using academic benchmarks in the four major areas, mathematics, English, reading, and science, we set national benchmarks. So, for example, in mathematics, if you score a 22 in your mathematics, that is what we call the benchmark at that 2010 test. What that meant was that if you score a 22 in the mathematics on the ACT, you are ready for those mathematics courses that you will take in your first year of a four-year college degree. So that's what we call college readiness in mathematics. And obviously you need college readiness in all of those skills that we talked about earlier, but this is just in those four areas of English, mathematics, reading, and science. So what we found was that if a student hits those benchmarks in none of those four subjects, they are pretty unlikely to get a college degree. Because they use their grit, their perseverance, their self-motivation, many of them will still go on to college, but less than 20%, so 2 out of every 10 of those students actually achieves a college degree. If we look at the flip of that, if you achieve the college benchmark, the college readiness benchmarks in all four of those areas, you actually find that 7 of those 10 students not only go to four-year college, but actually achieve that degree. And then there's a drop-off between that. So if you achieve 3, it's around 6 of the 10. If you achieve 2, it's around 5 of the 10. And if you achieve 1 of them, it's around 4 of the 10. But as you can see, even achieving one of those college benchmarks doubles the instance of those students achieving a degree. Next, it's how quickly that degree happened. This is incredibly important and a very, very important subject right now in higher education. Not just starting college. What does that really do? We want students to achieve and complete college in a timely manner. So what does that mean? That's usually 4 to 5 years at a 4-year institution. So with students of a composite ACT score of 20 or above, 35% of them were college ready and achieved their degree in a timely manner at a 4-year institution. When that composite score goes up, there is a dramatic shift in them going up. So if that 35% moves to 55%, if the composite score moves to 30. So the learning and preparedness that you do for the ACT, but more importantly, the learning and preparedness that you do in English, math, reading, and science actually prepares you to be successful, and be successful in a good time frame when you hit college. That's why we think that the ACT is a very, very good indicator of success to college. As always, I've talked a little bit quickly, and normally this takes me 28 minutes or so to do, but I've done it in 25 today. So all I've got left to say is thank you very much for listening. Please use the question and answer facility that we will have, and we will get back and share those with you in the follow-up to today. But thank you very much for listening to me. And I hope that you enjoyed this session and the other sessions that we're going to offer today. But my final thing to say is thank you again. And I will give you some time to get back before your next session. So thank you, and thanks very much for joining us. Goodbye.